greetings, and welcome again to yet another Girl Who Don't You Know. I am Marilyn Green, the hostess with the mostest, and today I have another fantabulous guest during my month of Pink Voices, and it's for me to honor and for me to celebrate the fighters, our heroes that have went through some dis-ease, and they're wanting to talk about it. And one of the reasons why I do Pink Voices is that I believe that every time they tell their story, then there's a healing that takes place. Then I believe that what they have to tell you is something that probably somebody out there at Facebook, YouTube land need to hear. So that's my reason for doing Pink Voices. And I am celebrating their life. And today I have, and I'm going to look at Teresa Seals-Taylor. Hey, Teresa, how are you?
Hey, I'm fine. How are you?
I am good. I am good. I am so, so good. So, Teresa, tell your story. I'll jump in when I need to jump in, but just tell us how you got the diagnosis, what was happening. I'm finding that more and more ladies are doing a self-examination and they finding things and stuff like that. So, tell us your story.
Okay, I'm gonna start with my aunt because this is very important about breast cancer awareness. So I was off and this is when I was a teacher. So we're off during the summer. So I tried to make my doctor's appointment and my doctor was full. So I couldn't get a doctor appointment. So I called my aunt. She referred me to her doctor. He got me in immediately. And as soon as I went in, he asked me, how did I come? And I told him it was my aunt. And so he says to me, what aunt? And I tell him her name. And he said, oh, well, we're going to get you a mammogram started before finding out anything, knowing me, knowing my name or any of those things. Once I told him who I was there, because my aunt had been his patient for over 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had breast cancer, but she wasn't telling anyone.
Oh.
So fast forward to when I finally went and got, that was my first mammogram. So I had more mammograms, and about 3 years later, I had a mammogram, and there were some things that didn't come back right. So I had to come back in and get another one. And on the day that I had to go get my mammogram again, my stepfather had triple bypass heart surgery.
Wow.
And it was like leaving the hospital from that and then going to get my mammogram and waiting to see, what the results were. So I was at work, and this was right after COVID, because we had just went back in person. Mm-hmm. And I'm working with a friend that I worked with previously and a new person. And as we were sitting during our planning time, the doctor's office called me. And before I did check that they could give me the information over the phone. Right. So when they called me, they told me that they found the cancer. And so as we were practicing for our kindergarten graduation, saying what we're getting ready to run through, and I just got quiet, and I'm getting emotional now thinking about it, and tears started to flow. And my coworker, Ms. Woods, looked back and said, what happened? You were just fine. And she said, what was the phone call? And then I told her what happened, and she said, give me your phone. So she called my husband and told him to come pick me up from work.
Yes,
and then my other coworker went and let the office know that, I was going home or whatever. So went through that process. And at the time, I was also taking care of my 96-year-old grandmother, because she had moved in from me picking her up from the nursing home because we couldn't see her during COVID. So I had her, like a kid all over again, because when we picked her up, she could no longer walk. So going through that whole little emotional thing, and being that my grandmother has always been through the kids and everything. So it was kind of hard experiencing this. And of course I had my friend Mary and then my aunt to talk about those things too. So I was telling her that it's very important, because she hadn't told her daughter or her granddaughter. her daughters or her granddaughter. And I said it's important that they are aware of this because they need to make sure that they get that checked out. So my process was fast because of early detection. They had already had what my breast looked like when I first had the mammogram
Mm-hmm.
and all those different little things. So they talked about procedures of what I could get done. So I just said I didn't want to remove my breast. I didn't want to go through that process. We could just remove the cancer. And so, of course, um, I had a it was DISC or something, it's something to their diagnosis, but it was stage 0. And so I was like, stage 0, is this, going in my mind, do I really need to have this
Right.
surgery? Is it
Mm-hmm.
is this really cancer if it's stage 0 or whatever? So I started doing my research, and it was because of early detection that it hadn't spread. But if I would have waited or put it off or anything like that, it would have attacked differently. So I am now 4 years clear. I do my annual breast exam in the month of January because that's my birthday. But
Okay.
however, once I had the removal from the surgery, couldn't lift anything for like 10 days. That meant my grandmother. And I had 5 days of radiation. And the radiation was, fine. Fast forward to this year, my uncle has breast cancer. He
What?
went through the same process, but he actually did chemo. So it's very important that families share this information because it can help someone else. And that's why I started off with my aunt's story, because
Mm-hmm.
had she said something, it would have been more of us could have went through getting mammograms to catch things earlier, because my uncle went through an experience where he had stage 4.
Wow.
So his process was different from mine because I had early detection. So
Mm-hmm. So the stage 4 of a man, and I'm yet to get a man on my show. I might need to talk to you later about getting him
get my uncle.
on the show, but I
Yeah.
may want him in November, where that's Men's Health Month, or not Men's Health Month, but it's where I want to celebrate some things in November. Okay,
Okay.
so
All right.
yeah, yeah, not because I don't know anybody outside of who was it, Beyonce's dad or somebody.
Okay.
I don't know I don't know anybody,
Yeah. Yeah.
not at
Okay.
all.
I'll try to I'll talk to them because they're that old fashioned,
Yes.
let's keep stuff a secret type people. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
which
Yeah,
is
I get it.
crazy.
But you're the first person I've heard that knows somebody basically that had the a male that
Hmm.
had it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You talked about you went in to get your mammogram. So you saying that if you had a known that your aunt had that, would you had went earlier to get your mammogram, or was it an insurance thing, or what age were you when you did this, if you want to share? Were you
Um,
were you
you know
supposed
what? This is
time?
where the mixed calculation of it. So when I first got my mammogram, it was
Mm-hmm.
because I was just going to the doctor when they scheduled it. Because I remember I went to her doctor and he
Right,
did it, and so it wasn't
right.
anything that they didn't detect anything then. But I didn't, I had got it, didn't go back for a while, and so when it was time, I said, let me quit playing, because knowing that she had it, this is something that I need to make sure that I'm checking. And so it just so happened that when I went to get it checked, that's when they found something. And
Right.
it was probably like, I'll say 4 years after
Mm-hmm.
my first mammogram.
Okay. Wow.
Because I did not do it annually like I should have. But
Okay.
now, since then, since 4 years ago, I'll say 5, because I've been breast cancer free um, for 4 years. This
Uh-huh.
uh, this September, and
Okay, so So you're saying that you went to get your mammogram, and but before that, it was nothing that you did annually,
No,
or
I didn't.
not at all. So talk about a little bit about that. Was it, here I go again? Was it insurance? Was it age? Was it fear? Was it, what made you not? Because I think that'll be helpful for people to hear, because
Mhm.
we are best health person, okay, for our own self. We have to take care of ourselves, right?
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about that. What was going on?
I'll say it was I want to say ignorance, but I'll just say being naive,
Okay.
because thinking that this couldn't happen to me, this wouldn't be, this wouldn't be my story. This is not the case. Um, that would be the only reason, because I should have, when immediately when the doctor, when I went in and told him that, oh, this was my aunt referred me to you, and he was like,
Mhm.
well, what's the proximity of your relationship? Oh, it's my mother's older sister. Well, we're getting ready to schedule a mammogram. So that should have gave me the I'll say, like, the warning label to say you need to go every year because something is not right here. But what happened was, I did not make the connection with my that it was my aunt that had breast cancer. I happened to go over her house. Now I'm off during the summer, and I was like, "Why you?" Because she was, at this time, she hadn't retired, and I said, "Why you not at work? You've been off for a long time." But this is when she was going through her, the procedure with her breast cancer, and she wasn't telling anyone. So she was like, "Why you gonna pay my bills? Why you asking?" I was like, "Okay." She
It
quite
ain't none of your
snappy.
business. That's what you said. Get in your own business.
Yes. And
Wow.
so just with that, it didn't dawn on me that that's what she was going through until um I happened to get my diagnosis, and that's when she shared that she had breast cancer. So um it's very important for family members to share that information with their
Yes.
family.
Yes. So, and but it goes back, if that's your aunt, it goes back to how we as a people always said, don't nobody need to know our business like that.
Hmm.
Okay. Even though they say that, they don't need to know our dirty laundry. You know what they say. But even within our own family, they do not talk enough about alcoholism. Let's just go there.
Hmm.
Okay. They don't talk about anything that you may be susceptible for because you're in that, we're in the
Hmm.
same fam. They don't
Yes.
talk about it at all. You have to find it out. And sometimes there's nobody that's generationally experienced this,
Hmm.
right? But how do you know? Because they be so secretive. How do you know? Okay.
It's go ahead. I don't want to cut you off,
No,
but
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
it's just when you said the thing with alcohol. So my maternal grandmother, she drank a bottle of gin every day. She was my babysitter probably before I was 5, and I remember her drinking, and I had to go sip to see what she was drinking because she had her glass with the gin and a glass of water. So I said, I just wanted to taste it to see what it was she was drinking, because
Right.
she didn't let you drink out of her glasses at all.
Right.
So tasting it, it was like, this is not good. So even right now today, as somebody that's 50, I am not a drinker because I've watched my grandmother, her mood change. She was mean, all the different little things like that. So when I would go with my paternal grandmother, none of those things was like that. So it was like, that was a silent teacher for me,
Yes.
because I
Yes.
knew that she suffered with alcoholism, and it made me not want to, touch that stove just
That's right. That's
from
right.
that.
That's right. But that's the same with anything.
Hmm.
We have to stop being so secretive.
Hmm.
Okay. And we need to just say, hey, tell me. And another thing that happens when two people maybe perhaps get divorced, right? And you don't know what your mama had, you don't know what your daddy had. just a loss of information, and that's what I'm hearing you talk about as far as what you would have done had you known
Mm-hmm.
that was the issue, because she was what, your aunt? Did you say aunt, right?
My aunt, yeah.
Right. So you would have done things a little different had you known.
Mm-hmm.
That's my hope, that you would say, well, hey, it's in my family. I need to go get this done. I need to
Yes.
go get this checked out, right? But that wasn't the case, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I guess when you found out, just like, okay, but I got to put it out there. It had to be a little bit of fear too.
Oh,
With
it was fear, and the as you're talking, because it's like it's once you reach 50, you kind of forget things. But however,
It's
my
okay.
my my daughters, like once I got my diagnosis, they had to do a genetic testing to make
What?
sure that it wasn't anything that was hereditary. So they um one of my daughters, well, two of them before they turned 30, because it's just, I can't even remember the age that they recommended, but because with me having breast cancer and me sharing it with them, they get a mammogram regularly now. I have three daughters, and so and just talking to you made me realize my sons may need to um get that done as well. So
Yes, yes, yeah.
yeah.
And that's another thing. We stereotype it to say it's women,
Mm-hmm.
but the disease don't is no respect of persons,
Right.
okay? It's a man or one, it's just there. But I like this conversation about know your history,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Know your history. Once you know your history, we're not saying that you gonna get it. We're not
Right.
saying that. We're
You just
saying,
need to
what did they
be
say? An ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. Okay.
uh-huh.
So if you know this has happened, but Teresa, you didn't know.
Yeah,
You
I didn't.
you just did not know. But once you knew, you kind of slowed around a little bit, but then you sped up. Now I know you do those annual every year. Would you say
Mm-hmm.
January?
January, yes. My appointment is my appointment for January 26th has already been made.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about your going mammograms, for those who's never gotten a mammogram, you need to go get one. Okay, you need to know your history. You need to go and get one or whatever. And I'm one of those that people say, "Well, your insurance won't pay for it," but my insurance won't pay for my death burial either. Come on,
No.
hello. You know what
And
I'm
it's
saying? It's not going to pay for it. So
right.
therefore, you need to say, I don't care what it is, I'm gonna pay for it. They used to tell me, and I'll tell my story real quick. I had like a something detected on my left breast, right? And they had to do a biopsy, right?
I did, yeah.
And they
Mm-hmm.
had to do that biopsy. And I'm telling you, I was so messed up for the weekend, I didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
after that, I said, I'm going every year. Okay.
Yeah.
They said, well, your insurance won't pay. I said, I don't care.
It don't matter. Yeah.
I don't care. Whatever it takes. I'm going to do this because of your age, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care what the insurance people say. Okay. I just want to live.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And so I said, no, I'm going. I'm going anytime. Now, also what's important, and help me out here, Teresa, it's important for you to have a place where they can start it and you continue to go down to the same place. I
Yes.
go to the same place every year because they got my record. They got the same machine or a newer machine. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to have a baseline somewhere. So, how did that affect you at all, Teresa, having a
So when
baseline?
you said something, I forgot. I totally forgot all about this, because even before they did the removal, because let me tell you how the naiveness in it. Remember, at this point I was a teacher, so I only had my summers off. So I had already planned a vacation. Flight was
Mm-hmm.
booked, so I had to have a biopsy schedule. I told the lady when she could do the biopsy, because I was like, this is nothing. 'Cause you're not getting ready to make me miss my trip.
I'm going on my trip, girl. I done paid for it. I done paid
Yes,
for it. I'm gonna
I
do.
said this is already paid for. However, like the next day I came back, my biopsy was scheduled, and I'm one day I'm gonna get to these terms, but I actually have some little thing
A
that's
marker.
the marker that's placed in my, that's there. So
I got one.
if I go anywhere, they'll know that I've experienced this before, without having the records. But I actually go to the same place every
Mm-hmm.
time. So
I go to the same place. I mean,
yeah.
because let me just say this: I'm fearful that if I go over here, they don't get my records too late or what. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And it's way out there. In it's in Fenton. I
Okay.
live in Illinois. Okay, it's in
Okay.
Fenton, but I go to the same place every year
Yeah.
because I'm like,
Long as you go.
right. I don't want no jokes. I don't want no
Mhm.
jokes.
Yeah.
So people out there, women, men, whoever, if you have a history of it and you know about the history, you need to start talking to your doctor. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm gonna tell you something about doctors as well. Doctors ain't like the 1920s where they birth you, then they know your family, they know you. They don't know you. Okay, to
Hmm.
just say that. They don't know you. You become a number. They come in with a computer nowadays. They asking you the same doggone questions. So guess what? Your health depends on you.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying,
Yes.
Teresa?
And
Sometimes
with,
you
with what you're saying, my mother has three living siblings left. My aunt that had breast cancer, another
mhm.
aunt, and my uncle. But not my aunt that had the breast cancer. Her, because my mother's the youngest, but the three of them go to the same. They go to the same doctor. Been going through and they did that. You know, just for what you're talking about, because they, of course, they went to the same doctor when they were kids, so they end up finding them a doctor as an adult, so they have
Mhm.
the same person. And I said, now my doctor that I have has never seen chickenpox,
See,
so it's like,
okay, is that a Doogie Howser type person? I mean, girl, he don't know nothing. I mean, I ain't saying that. I'm just saying,
yeah.
but he don't know anything about it. But we used to go to the same doctor whenever we went to the doctor. Let's go there.
Mhm.
But it's important that you get a baseline in my mind. And you're right. If you got a problem, they do put this little marker, and a little marker comes up every time, no matter where you go. But you don't want a marker. Okay.
Mhm.
The whole point of this is to go get your mammogram. Okay, go get your mammogram. And for those who the insurance say you too young, it's okay to get that little card and put it in your shower. All right, and do your own examination because guess what? You know your body better than anybody.
Mhm.
You
And,
know.
and this is the thing. It's the early detection. If you're going every year, it just so happened like mine was a early detection,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't even want to talk about what ifs, and not even to think about how can you prevent it. How can you prevent it is going to check to make sure that it's not there.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And and because it's like, and we all know girls that our girls be hurting in that machine.
Mm.
Okay, Girl,
Oh my god.
we all know it is a necessary evil, and on top of
Mhm.
that, just let me go on and say it. On top of that, you don't know who gonna be doing it, and some a little bit rougher than others, and you just feel all beat up afterwards, right, Teresa? But they
Yes.
trying to do the right thing
Hmm.
by making sure they get all the tissue up here and
Out
blah blah this and all that, but it be hurting.
I said my technician need to have boobies, because the ones that because my mom, I'm like, you're not feeling what I feel.
That's right. That stuff
Because
is hurting, and
it
then
does hurt.
once
It's not a toothache hurt. It's not a labor pain hurt. It's not that type of hurt, but it is a little discomfort because it's the squeezing.
yeah, and then once they squeeze it, let's just go on and go further. Then they say, "Don't breathe, don't breathe, don't breathe." And you about to faint, fall out, whatever, because you got too many things going on in your head. But I'm telling you all this, but I'm not trying to say don't go. I say do go, but I'm
Mhm.
just prepping you. If this your
Mhm.
first time, that you're going to get that mammogram that is just a smashing of boobies. That's what
That's
it
it.
is. It's a
And
smash, but
in
it's in,
different places.
in
It's like sleeping in the bed with a bunch of kids. And
but just crunched. You just crunched, just smashed and stuff, you know. But hey, you have said some very important things here. You talked about it's important to know about your history, your family history. Ask the questions. Just
Mhm.
ask. And if they get all weird and stuff, you tell them the reason why you want to know.
Yes,
You know, tell them I want to know so that I will be healthy, my kids will be healthy, the generations will be healthy. Okay,
correct. Yes,
ask the questions. All right, because it's so many people I know that have left us that had something that didn't tell us, and they said, well,
Mhm.
you didn't ask me. They gonna get smart. I mean, they would have got smart with you or anything like that, but know your history. Okay, go and get the mammogram, okay, when it's time, based on your insurance, if you want to go that way. But please, 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 you know your own body. Please, if
Mhm.
you feel something weird, you know, or something that you're like, this ain't right and stuff, you need to go to the doctor. You need
Yes,
to
you
go to the
do.
doctor. Don't be so afraid. Okay, it's even worse if you're afraid, and then by the time you do go, like Teresa say, the early detection is what she believes really saved her life. Okay, and you didn't have to go as much. Did you have to go through? I think one of the Pink Voices guests said that you had to go through. Did you go chemotherapy?
No, I didn't have to do chemo. I only had to do radiation, and I only had 5 days of radiation. I
Wow.
didn't have to do chemo. And you know, as we're talking, it just my mother best friend, she had breast cancer, but she actually doesn't have a successful story. So, and I, you know, she got really. It almost put me in the mind of dementia. How
Mm-hmm.
she kind of like took her down. So I actually seen a different end of it because she was there for my high school graduation. She was there by the time I had my fourth child. But by the time I had my fifth child, she was deceased. And
Wow.
I don't remember her. It was like she found out she had breast cancer, and it kind of like and
Wow.
I just and I wonder, do her daughter, because she does have one daughter, and I wonder, do she lives in Florida, but I wonder, do she actually goes. Now it's making me want to reach out to her and say,
I
because her
want you
daughter
to.
has two daughters, so it's like this is something that you need to be really aware of and take it serious. And she may, but it just made me, because being on Facebook, you get to see people, but I've never seen her say anything
Uh huh.
about breast cancer. So.
Yeah, that's important to know. So you had no chemo, which is good.
Hmm.
Okay, because
Yes.
I believe that I know this because of the early detection. You
Hmm.
didn't get any breast removed or anything else, even though you didn't get all that harsher type of treatment. How were you mentally?
Because they gave me options. I could have gotten the mastectomy, and I was like, oh no, can we just try? Because it was only in my right breast.
Uh huh.
So let's remove it first.
Mm-hmm.
So that was more of my thing. So I didn't want to go through, but I had a lot of thoughts because you have those what if moments, all those different little things, and then um, it just made me think about a lot of stuff in what we eat, um,
Mm-hmm.
what we do. It's this biggest thing where it's like this phone and sticking it right here, so that I don't do that, because at first that was the biggest thing,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
because I'm right hand, I did this, but my cancer was in my right breast, so it was like, okay, maybe that wasn't the case.
Right.
Just trying to self-diagnose, which is not right. Just going in and just properly doing the right things, the correct things, and I just have to say is that we go get those. Pap smears once. They didn't change that too. However, you don't have to get a Pap smear once a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just, but when you make that appointment, make that mammogram, and it's actually places where they're free, where the
Mm,
mammogram trucks pull up. Different people
right.
be doing different things.
Exactly.
So just if you can go get your nails done, you can go get a mammogram.
Okay.
If you can, if you can get a lace front, you can go get a mammogram. So
In other words, you say you don't care about your life because basically you can't get your nails done if you ain't healthy,
yeah,
right? You can't get the lace front wig, right? If
yeah,
if all is going wrong, you know
yes,
what I'm saying. So you're
hmm,
saying take the time for self care,
yes.
take the time, that's important as well. Now I know we always go through the what ifs and whatever, but I don't think that stopped you, right? I don't think it stopped you. You kept moving. I think you told me in here that you are an author. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. Yes,
Okay. And you got several books here. Tailor Made, is that you?
yes, it is.
Washed Up, No Limit, the Young and the Reckless.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Misplaced Loyalty, Happy Birthday, which is a children's book. And all those can be purchased on Amazon.com, Barnes Noble, or your website. So if you want to, no, you need to go to her website. It's teresaseals.com. And
Hmm.
it's Teresa without the H. It's Teresa Seals.com. So even through all that, some of these books were you wrote them before you had the breast cancer or after?
Them were all, all of those, all those novels were written before the breast cancer. I did my children's book because um, that was afterwards. And I did the children's book because I was a kindergarten teacher. And the read alouds that we had were not culturally responsive to our
Mm-hmm.
children, and they were way too long and you couldn't get through to them. So everybody has a birthday. So I did that as a read aloud that teachers can use within their classrooms that is relevant to um, the children in which they teach.
I like that. I like that. Okay, well, we're about to wrap this up. Thank you so much. But I asked you to give me one or two positive messages that you'd like to share with the audience. So you wrote down the knockdown doesn't count as much as getting back up. And you wrote faith, focus, and consistency will take you places that doubt never will. Unpack that a little bit more as we get ready to close.
Okay, so I had my first child at 15. Of course, this
Okay.
was my summer going into my sophomore year, and a lot of people said that it was a lot of things that I wasn't going to become or be able to do because of having this child. That child is now 35. She is
Whoa.
working on her master's degree, and she had her first child, I believe, at 30. Um, so that whole little thing of I had to go. My baby is going to graduate without being somebody's mom from high school. So that was personal for me because she wasn't going to have to do my story. And here I am with masters plus 30, and I'm the owner of my own business. And those books that you mentioned, I
Mm-hmm.
published them myself. My first book was published with this lady Brenda Hampton, and Brenda Hampton is now working on movies. And she and I are back together again. And I'm
Wow.
working on a book now called Gateway to Sin, and Gateway to Sin will be my first book to film, and it's an indie film. It will be an indie film. So those things is it's my faith. Even though I feel like I got knocked down a few times, I've gotten back up, and I'm not letting that doubt control anything. It's my faith is keeping me moving forward.
That's great. Now, Gateway to Sin, I saw that on Facebook. Is that you?
Yes, it is.
I
Yes.
thought it was. I said, wait, I didn't heard this. Okay. I
Uh
saw
huh.
I saw the
Yes.
flyer or something
Uh
like that.
huh.
Hey,
That's the book
congratulations.
cover.
The book
The
club,
book is
right.
not done yet.
Okay, but no, congratulations. I like
Thank you.
that. Yeah, okay, now I know. But hey, thank you so much for everything that you've shared with my audience. I appreciate your willingness to come on. You gave us some really good things to think about, the early detection. The biggest one is knowing your history for me, for us.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, we need to know our history, right?
Yes.
And we
Quit
need
telling
to
those secrets.
stop the secrets. Stop the secrets, okay?
Yes.
Knowing your history, stopping the secrets. Tell us what happened, okay? It's okay to tell us. We ain't
Hmm.
gonna tell nobody. We gonna just try to make ourselves healthier.
Yes, exactly. When you know better, you do better.
That's exactly right. So, I mean, I'm happy that you had early detection. I'm happy that you didn't let the what ifs take over your mind. Okay, I'm just happy that now I believe that you're just on a real journey of people knowing,
Yes.
exactly what's going on with their body, and we're not saying that you will get it, but I think the word is the propensity or is high for you to get it. So
Right.
you need to know that. And we did use the example of alcoholism. That's huge. I won't
Hmm.
go into it on this one right here. Okay, on this show. But knowing that that's in your family does not say that it's like, oh, that's them, not me. Right. Okay. Okay. But anyway, Teresa, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you greatly. And
Thank you for having me.
of course. And please come back and see me when Gateway to Sin comes and whatever. I'd be
Okay.
happy to chat with you again about that. And I'm happy that you did not let what happened to you, even as a 15-year-old, even with breast cancer, stop you from being all that God had for you. Okay,
Yes.
doing.
Thank
I appreciate you. I appreciate you for pushing through. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you as well for
Not
having
a
me.
not a problem. So hey, you're listening. You have been listening to Girl, Who Don't You Know, with Marilyn Green. I'm the hostess with the mostest. Please like, subscribe, and follow me. Do all that. Set your notification bell. Y'all know what to do, okay? And all that. So until then, peace out, and you guys take care. Bye bye.